All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's finish the rest of that video that we watched earlier, the Nancy Guthries case. So let's leave off right, or let's pick up, right where we left off. Let's check this out. Did I post it in there? Yo, Debbie. Hopefully that's it. I think so. All right, let's share this here. Get your tea. Let's finish this thing.
County, Arizona, what they found was not a rumor. It was not a screenshot from an anonymous account. It was a court docket, and the charges listed on that docket map onto the events of February 1st with a forensic specificity that the public deserves to understand completely. On February 5th, 2026, 4 days after Nancy Guthrie disappeared, and 1 day after the FBI's first search of the Sioni home, an investigative account on X posted a screenshot. The account, operating under the handle JLR Investigates, published what it described as court records pulled directly from the Arizona Pima County court system. The document showed a criminal record attached to the name Dominic Aaron Lee Evans. Within hours, that screenshot had been shared across every platform covering the case. In multiple media outlets independently verified the records against the Pima County Court database. The charges: felony burglary, robbery, theft, embezzlement, and DUI. Now stop right there. Before this
All right, real quick. Once again, we cannot, on this channel, say that them charges are real. We don't know how many Dominic Evans there is. But if it's true, and he does have a past of robbery and numerous things, then connecting the dots, yes, it's very possible. Very possible. But we can't say on this channel for sure if it's him, although his eyes do match. He does have the lips and the Fu Manchu, but two other people did too.
investigation walks through those charges individually, and we are going to walk through them carefully, it is critical to establish what this information is and what it is not. Dominic Evans has not been named as a suspect by the FBI or the Pima County Sheriff's Department. He has not been charged in connection with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. He has not been arrested. What exists in the public record is a prior criminal history. Nothing more, nothing less. But in a federal investigation where the physical profile of an unidentified subject has been released, and where forensic scientists are building behavioral frameworks to understand who executed this crime and how, a prior criminal history is not irrelevant. It is a data set. And this data set maps onto the events of February 1st with a specificity that investigators and the public both deserve to understand. Let's start with burglary. Under Arizona law, burglary is defined as entering or remaining unlawfully in a structure with the intent to commit a theft or felony inside. Read the legal definition again and hold it next to what the FBI's footage shows. A figure who approached a private residence in darkness. A figure who moved through a gated front entrance without visible forced entry at the gate. A figure who entered the home and physically removed an occupant. That is entering a structure unlawfully. Those are not parallel events. That is the same verb set. A person with a documented history of unauthorized entry into structures has already crossed the psychological threshold most people never approach. They have learned how a locked space gives way. They know how to move through unfamiliar geometry in the dark. They know where to step and where not to step. Robbery is legally distinct from burglary because it requires confrontation. It requires standing in front.
All right, one other thing I want to point out is they've never released if anything was actually missing from the house other than Mrs. Guthrie. Now, that backpack was full when he came in, I believe, and it was full when he left. So, what was in there, who knows? Was it as full as it was when he came into the place? And, I don't know. Robbery, I don't know. Now, to me, it looks like the middle photo or the end photo there, all the way at the end where he's holding his hand up to the glove or to the camera, and you can see the glove and you can see the sleeve. Now, that sleeve looks really round to me, like there's something in there. Now, is it possible he went there for paperwork and shoved his paperwork or whatever down his arms and wrapped it around his arms or whatever? Maybe. Or it could be he's got other article clothing under there. Now, people are saying, well, that's a tattoo. I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I can't see it. Maybe it is dark. It's possible, but I can't say 100%. And where can you get these gloves? Well, there's a lot of people that do barbecuing, cooks that use them exact gloves that you're seeing. That's right, I just said it. Barbecue people and food people, people that deal with food, wear them gloves. Now, let's get back to this video.
Of another person and taking from them through physical force or the credible threat of it. Most people are incapable of this, not physically, psychologically. And the threshold between wanting something and being willing to take it through direct human confrontation is one that the overwhelming majority of the population will never cross. Whoever entered Nancy Guthrie's home on February 1st confronted an 84-year-old woman in the dark and physically removed her from the residence she had occupied for 5 decades. That is not a passive act. That is not a crime of opportunity where no one is looking. That is confrontation. And a person with a documented robbery conviction has already demonstrated, on the record, a willingness to cross that line. The theft and embezzlement charges tell a different story about the same person. Embezzlement is a crime of exploited trust. You cannot embezzle from someone who does not give you access first. The crime requires being inside a relationship, inside a system of confidence, and then choosing, deliberately and over time, to extract from it. See, that is not impulsive behavior. That is calculated. That is someone who can maintain the appearance of trustworthiness while operating against the interests of the person who trusted them. Now, here is the context that reshapes all of those charges. The 1999 bar theft that surfaced in Evans's record, confirmed through the NYT reporting, was a minor incident more than 2 decades before Nancy's disappearance. The DUI was a separate charge. What investigators and online researchers focused on was the combination, a pattern of documented conduct across different categories of offense: unauthorized entry,
All right. So is this guy trying to let us believe that Dominic Evans was an alcoholic and or DUI he had? So is it possible the guy that's doing this might be under the influence, maybe a little tipsy or something? A little drunk, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. No, it's possible. Debbie Fox says you can buy them gloves anywhere. Yeah, that's true. You can. You can. There's a lot of people that use them for a lot of things.
Physical confrontation, financial deception, risk-taking despite consequences. Each charge in isolation is one data point. Together, they outline a behavioral architecture. Then Evans spoke. On February 25th, 2026, he sat down with the New York Times. His words were measured and direct. He stated that he had met Nancy Guthrie exactly once, at an Easter gathering in 2011. He confirmed he was interviewed by investigators, approximately 40 minutes, and had not been contacted again since. He described his alibi clearly. He and his wife, Andrea, were home with their children on the night of January 31st through February 1st. His wife corroborated it. Phone data supported the account. He stated what the harassment had cost his family. His 6-year-old son unable to return home. Strangers posted outside their house through the night. His wife, a school principal, sitting in a darkened bedroom too frightened to turn on a light. He said, with controlled exhaustion, people get hurt when names get taken. Sheriff Nanos, asked about Evans directly, described him as going through hell. He told the Times he wished he could defend every person falsely accused. He suggested Evans consult attorneys and pursue libel action against those who had targeted him. And there it is, the forensic tension this case cannot escape. A man who has spoken, who has an alibi, who has been interviewed and not recontacted by investigators. And a physical description, 5'9" to 5'10", average build, dark facial hair, possible right wrist tattoo. That does not exclude him. Not because of a screenshot comparison, because the numbers simply do not rule him out, the way they rule out the man standing next to him in 19 years of banned photographs. And the height discrepancy that dismantles the case against Sioni being on that porch is the same measurement that places Evans inside the FBI's established range. That is not guilt. That is geometry. And it is where the DNA becomes the only language left. This is where theory ends and science begins. Not speculation, not photograph comparisons, not side-by-side screenshots on social media. The biological evidence recovered from this case exists in a laboratory right now, and it is being processed by instruments that do not have opinions. They do not follow YouTube channels. They do not read comment sections. They read genetic sequences. And what those sequences have already confirmed changes the entire architecture of this investigation. Start with the glove. On February 13th, 2026, FBI evidence response teams and Pima County investigators expanded their search perimeter outward from Nancy Guthrie's Catalina Foothills home. They were looking for anything the subject might have discarded during an exit from the scene. What they found, in a field near a roadside, approximately 2 miles from the residence.
All right, I also want to bring up, would it shock you folks if possibly, I'm not saying anything but speculating, that maybe being that they mentioned a YouTuber, is it possible that someone staged this whole thing with the gloves and maybe they do have DNA, but it's not Nancy's and it's someone else's, and that's why they keep mentioning the YouTuber? All for a story. I don't know. I don't. Would it shock me? No, not at all. No. Someone might have got mad because the pizza was delivered to the house. Someone might have got mad that JLR was the one that the pizza was delivered to. Someone might have got mad because they wanted the YouTubers to go home and the YouTube reporters. Now, was there enough time for someone to do something like this? Yes. Yeah, there was enough time for people to put gloves out there, and then they find the gloves because they're upset that law enforcement wants them to go home. The real media wants them people to go home. I don't know. Maybe it could be. It could be. No, nobody that knew anything about crime, even let's say Dominic was a robber and did many robberies. Uh, he's not too good if he's leaving that kind of evidence. Gloves real close to the scene of the crime. It just don't make sense. And plus, such a high profile case.
Was a single glove, black, nitrile. The FBI confirmed publicly that it appeared visually consistent with the gloves worn by the masked subject in the doorbell camera footage recovered from February 1st. The glove was immediately transported to a forensic laboratory. eDNA was extracted, and a genetic profile was built. That profile was submitted to CODIS, the FBI's combined DNA index system, a national database containing nearly 27 million genetic profiles, including more than 19 million from individuals convicted of qualifying crimes across the United States. The system cross-referenced the unknown profile against every entry in that database. No match. The DNA belongs to an unknown male. He has no prior qualifying arrest or conviction on file in any federal or state system that feeds into CODIS. Now, here is the detail that the public conversation has consistently underweighted. Investigators did not stop at the glove. They went inside. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos confirmed publicly that biological material was recovered from inside Nancy Guthrie's home. That material was sent to a separate laboratory for analysis. And Nanos made a statement that deserves to be read slowly. He said, investigators believe this DNA may belong to their suspect, but the lab reported challenges with the sample. Not failure, challenges. The sample is described as a mixed profile, meaning more than one contributor's genetic material is present in the same biological trace. Separating contributors in a mixed profile is a technically demanding process. It takes time. And the lab confirmed the technology to process this type of sample is advancing rapidly, and that resolution could come within weeks, months, or possibly longer, depending on the complexity of the mixture. Here is what the science has already confirmed, regardless of those processing challenges. The DNA profile recovered from the glove does not match the biological material recovered from inside the home. Two separate.
All right, they're saying two separate DNAs that don't match. The DNA inside don't match the glove on the outside. So possibly two people or just one, and somebody's playing games, right? You'd have to be half nuts. Whoever did this madness, I would suggest you get out of the crime business because how you leave 17 pairs of clothes? They found 16 plus the one on the side of the road 2 miles away. Why would you throw a glove out? Maybe they'll think it's the wherever it landed, the house in front of it, that they're the ones that do. Who? What kind of an idiot would do something like that and leave a glove with possibly blood on it and your DNA? This is? These are idiots, complete idiots. All right, let's get going back. Conspiracies are real. You might want to believe the government that these things are not real. Well, I'm here to tell you they are real. And you might be seeing a conspiracy of documentation, real estate, property, money. We don't know how deep this goes, possibly, if it's true that this little old lady at 84 was 007 Mrs. Guthrie and working for, yeah, that's very well possible. Why are they pulling out all that paperwork out of the house? Why are they, well, what's going on here? Conspiracies. Now keep thinking that conspiracies ain't real. And that's when they'll try and use it. You get a whole city coming down on you on a conspiracy, trying to make you out to be the idiot. All right, let's get back to this, man. Not today, Satan. Not today, not ever, never, ever, ever, never. Wait, wrong one. Wait, what did I do? The heck did I do? All right, there we go. Try and mess me up.
Separate contributors. Two distinct genetic signatures present at the same crime scene,
Martinez.
separated by approximately 2 miles of desert roadside. One discarded along what appears to be an exit route. One found inside a home where an 84-year-old woman with limited mobility was physically removed from the place she had lived for 5 decades. This is the moment the initial theory fractures. If this were a single-person crime, one impulsive actor, one opportunistic event, there would be one genetic profile, one contributor, one trail. But the biological evidence has already confirmed what behavioral analysis of the footage was suggesting. 2 people were involved in what happened to Nancy Guthrie on the night of February 1st. The DNA does not care about the theories on social media. It does not care about which name is trending. It has recorded 2 contributors, and it is waiting to identify.
Oh, thank you, Miss Fox. I think they staged those gloves. I do think I think so too. The only way that 17 pairs of gloves got there is he walked her out of there or carried her out of there to wherever the vehicle was. But even then, what kind of idiot is leaving gloves? Or are they falling out of his pockets or the backpack and he's leaving a trail of gloves? It don't make sense. Now, with all this stuff going down, could it be someone staging it for a story? Maybe. Boy, they brought up JLR's name in this. That he pulled up the records on somebody. I'm one of these people, but that don't make them guilty just because they have a past of robbery. You know? Here's the thing. This story ain't making sense. Why? Well, because Dominic is a known felon, a person that has been picked up for robbery. So if he's been picked up for robbery, they already have his fingerprints and DNA and all that. This is unknown now Do we know if Carlos, another suspect, has a record other than him getting questioned for this and brought down to the police station? I don't even think they brought him down to the police station, he said. I'm not sure.
Identify both of them. Former Deputy Chief of the NYPD Forensics Investigations Division, Emmanuel Katranakis, addressed this directly. He told CBS News that genetic genealogy is essentially the final instrument after CODIS, and that if the suspect has a relative who is a convicted offender in any contributing state database, investigators build a family tree around that connection. Not a direct match, a branch, a cousin, a sibling, someone in the extended family tree who submitted a DNA sample to a state database or uploaded their genetic profile to a commercial platform like Ancestry, 23andMe, or MyHeritage, without any awareness of what that data might eventually be used to find. Forensic Investigative Genetic Genealogy, FIGG, is the same methodology that identified the Golden State Killer after more than 4 decades, the same process that led to Brian Kohberger's arrest in the University of Idaho murders, the same tool cited by the National District Attorneys Association as ushering in a new era of criminal identification. And it does not require the suspect to have ever voluntarily submitted their own DNA anywhere. It requires only that someone in their extended family tree did. And the probability that both contributors to this crime scene have managed to keep their entire extended family, every cousin, every sibling, every parent, out of every commercial genealogy database and out of every state CODIS feeder system approaches statistical near zero. One profile is difficult to trace.
All right, to me, that don't look nothing like to Mouse. Just he ain't got enough hair, and the mask ain't bulging out enough from his giant mustache. Now, whether he, like we said before, shaved or not, I don't know, but it just don't seem like him. But like I said, just because you weren't there and did it, doesn't mean that you're not implicated in it somehow. That's very possible. I don't know. They've been going back to his house a lot. Now, these other people, the story ain't adding up because Dominic has an arrest record. So, CODIS or whoever it is uh, would have that information. Now, maybe not. I'm not sure. They only have his fingerprints or whatever. I'm not really sure, but he has a record. And usually people that have been picked up recently, within the past 10, 20 years since all this new technology, uh, they might have been DNA tests and not even known it. You know, they might have used some technique of trying to look for a kid or something, or like child support or a family member, like whatever this thing is that they're ancestor.com or whatever, maybe just like they did with Koberger. They took DNA from a family member and narrowed it down to him. Could that be done here? Probably. If you remember, didn't Carlos say something about they showed a photo or they did? Maybe they got DNA from Carlos's family member. I don't know, and used it, or they said something about his phone pinged, or he was looking it up, or something like that. And that's what the police told him. But the police lie. So, can we really believe anything? Not really at this point.
Two profiles means two family trees being built simultaneously. Two branches being climbed at the same time by forensic genealogists whose only job is to find the name at the end of each one. And here is the question this evidence places directly in front of the two names at the center of this case. If Dominic Evans, a man with a documented felony record in Pima County, Arizona, has a prior qualifying arrest or conviction that fed his DNA into CODIS, and then the profile on that glove has already been compared against his. If it did not match, it means Evans did not leave that glove. But if the second profile, the partial mixed sample still being processed from inside the home, produces a viable sequence, that sequence will be run through genealogy databases regardless of whether the subject has ever been arrested. And that process does not announce itself. It runs quietly. It builds its tree in the background. And one morning, investigators receive a name. The databases are already running. The tree is already being built. The science is not waiting for a confession. What comes next in this case, the name the genealogy delivers, the matched branch in the family tree, is what every person following this investigation is waiting for. And when it arrives, it will close the distance between two men in band photographs and a masked figure on a porch at 1:47 in the morning, faster than any press release ever could. And the first note arrived on the morning of February 3rd, 2026. TMZ received it through their tip line, along with two Tucson television stations, KOLD News 13 and KGUN 9. Millions of dollars in Bitcoin, a specific wallet address included. Two deadlines set, February 5th at 5 p.m. local time and February 9th. The letter reportedly contained precise personal details about Nancy Guthrie and her home.
Another clue is someone in that family, excuse me, someone knew that family had Bitcoin or must have had Bitcoin, because that's a lot for someone to ask someone that might not know anything about Bitcoin, because you got to set a lot of stuff up before you can even buy or sell or whatever. So, I'm not sure if they had Bitcoin. I heard they did, but that would need, someone would have known that. Hey, this lady's got billions in Bitcoin, right? And how much, if the family did have Bitcoin, how much was it worth? Was it the exact amount it was worth? Much like the ransom note in the John Bonet case, where it was the exact amount of what John got for a bonus that Christmas. So are we looking at something like this, where they had 6 million in Bitcoin and that was it? Well, then only somebody would know that is close to this family. I don't know, maybe. Oh, here comes Higginbotham.
Details that are not publicly available. The details that narrow the field of possible.
I'm not going to say return to sender with these people. I'm going to say, Lord, I hand this to you in your way of handling it. In Jesus' name, instead of telling these people that return to sender, I pray for these people. Forgive them. No, let's carry on.
Authors immediately. Both deadlines passed. The Bitcoin wallet sat empty. On February 5th, the FBI arrested a 42-year-old Los Angeles area man named Derek Colella, not for writing the ransom note. The feds were explicit about this. His text messages to Annie Guthrie and Tommaso Cioni had not been linked to the original ransom demand. Colella was charged with one count of intent to transmit a demand for ransom and one count of making a harassing phone call after he sent a text to Annie and Cioni reading words to the effect of whether they had sent the Bitcoin and that the other party was waiting. His arrest came hours after Savannah Guthrie posted a public video acknowledging the ransom letters and begging for proof of life. Colella appeared in U.S. District Court in Santa Ana and was granted a $20,000 bond, and he had no confirmed connection to Nancy's disappearance. An opportunist, a man who watched the news coverage, saw a window and reached through it. He was not the source of the original note. Then the communications continued. Distinct in tone and structure from the first. This one was not claiming to hold.
All right, so here's another suspect. We're up to like 5 dudes. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're up to 5 dudes involved in this, or well, they that are suspects. Very interesting.
Told Nancy. This sender described having information about who took her. Or they asked for one Bitcoin, worth approximately $66,000 at the time, in exchange for that information. TMZ's co-executive producer, Charles Latibaudiere, reviewed both communications directly and told NewsNation the tone was clearly different, clearly not from the same person who wrote the first note. Not a ransom demand, an offer to inform. On February 13th, a third communication arrived, and this one warned investigators they should be prepared to go international to find the suspect, a likely reference to the proximity of the Mexican border, less than 90 minutes south of Tucson. The fourth and final note, received on February 16th, carried language that former FBI profiler Jim Clemente and ransom expert David Levin both flagged during their analysis. The sender described being close to the events, or referred to the primary person involved as the main individual, organizational language, the vocabulary of someone who understands the operation, had a structure, a hierarchy, a primary actor, and supporting roles, and stated they did not want to touch any payment until an arrest had been made. Clemente's read was measured and specific. The phrase, close to the flame, his description of the sender's likely position, does not mean the person who lit the fire. It means someone who felt its heat. Someone with proximity to it. Someone who knew what it was before the rest of the world did. Now place that alongside what was happening in public view at the same time. NewsNation's senior national correspondent
Well, could it have been cartel? Well, I don't know. If there's this guy that made this video is saying what was going on at the time that this happened. What was the big thing? Well, we all know what the big thing was. The island and this whole thing with the president, and then the whole thing with the Mexican cartel. Could it have been the Mexican cartel? It could have been, but very sloppy, leaving gloves and DNA everywhere. And usually they don't take people, right? You know, uh, they usually are into the killing, whatever, hijacking presidents and stuff like that. Not news people, but I could be wrong. Not 84-year-old ladies, but there could be some connection somewhere to uh, criminal activity. Whether it was cartel or just a bunch of guys that decided they were going to pull a kidnapping, try and get some money out of it. Who knows? But this guy's saying close to the flame. Well, you know, be careful, folks. They might not even be talking about. They might be trying to kill me. This whole thing, yeah. They use the TVs, everything. It's almost like John Wick. Yeah, you don't know. You walk out your front door, next thing you know, you got a hip pulled on you. These people are all around you already. Very well, possibly could have been like that. We're finding out Tomos was from Italy. Maybe he stepped on somebody's matzo ball and they went to go do a hit, and Mrs. Guthrie was just there at the wrong time. And they got both of them. I don't know. Where is Tomas? Everyone's saying he took off. No one's seen him. Do we know if that's true? I don't know. We have no idea if this whole story they're telling us that Mrs. 84-year-old Guthrie, 74, whatever she is, went to dinner that night and came home, and then this happened. We have no idea if that's true. Till they show us footage of her leaving that day from that house and coming home that day. Actually seeing her, there she is. Then we don't know if any of this is true.
Brian Segrist reported that Tommaso Cioni had not been seen publicly for nearly a week by early February. He had not been spotted near the family home since approximately the first week of the month. His attorney had almost certainly advised minimal public presence. That is standard practice in any active federal investigation.
We are gardeners.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
If you're living with severe...
But hold it in context, because Dominic Evans had also gone silent. Total digital silence. No social media posts. No public statement of concern for Nancy. No expression of support for a family he had been connected to through Cioni for 19 years. Nothing. Until February 25th, and when the New York Times published an interview in which Evans stated he felt like someone had taken his name and that innocent people were getting hurt by the speculation. He confirmed he had been interviewed once by investigators approximately 1 week into the case, a session lasting around 40 minutes. He had not been contacted by law enforcement since. His alibi: home with his wife and children on the night of January 31st into February 1st. Sheriff Nanos responded publicly, not by naming Evans as a suspect, but by expressing sympathy for him and suggesting he consider legal action for defamation against those circulating unverified claims about him. 2 men, 19 years of documented shared history, both woven into the fabric of this family through the same
Oh, so now the government, the police out there in Arizona are telling, is this a racket? Is this a scam? They release it, the news places and everybody release these suspects and all this and that. And now these guys come out, they're using my name. Well, you're a suspect, someone real close to you, and because uh, uh, your name got brought up, and social media put it all over the place. Media, uh, stories of the family. Now all of a sudden, well, I suggest you guys sue these people for defamation. Are you effing nuts? Is that what we're dealing with in this country? Everything's a racket. The only thing they could do is sue the police department. You can't sue people that are on YouTube putting out stuff that the government's putting out, and still the government hasn't come out and said he was cleared of anything. There's no proof of nothing. It's all hearsay. We've been through this with so many cases. No, I'm not buying. They can't be that stupid to do something like that. Putting all this information out, like what this guy in the video is saying, that this guy Tomos signed over property, or someone signed property over to him or something. And now Mrs. Guthrie is either he signed it over to her or she signed something over him. And now she's, yeah. And now all of a sudden now they're saying, well, you guys should sue. I don't think so. Right? YouTubers are just taking the lead of the police and the big news channels. They might be able to get money. You ain't gonna get no money out of these YouTubers. Everyone's poor. We're just couch potato YouTubers. I mean, we're poor. How are you gonna? It just don't make sense. Well, here comes Bottom. Now I pray for these people that have been cursing me, Lord. I ask you to use your discretion and your wisdom to how to handle these people. If they're demonic, in Jesus' name, then bind them. All right, let's continue. This is almost over.
Marriage, the same music, the same years of proximity, both silent in the same window, both absent from public view in the same days. A silence from one person carries many possible explanations. Silence from two people who have known each other for nearly 2 decades in the middle of a federal kidnapping investigation connected to the family they both orbit. That silence has a different weight. It has the weight of a conversation that already happened, a decision that was already made. A set of instructions passed between two people before the cameras arrived, and the FBI set up its command post, and the reward reached $1 million. And that reward, $1 million, announced by the Guthrie family on February 24th, up from the original $200,000, is the variable that no silence can fully withstand. Because $1 million does not just reward loyalty, it tests it. And it sits on the table in front of every person who knows anything about what happened on the morning of February 1st.
Whether you're a professional technician or
what is your silence actually worth? The ring around this case is not solid. It never is.
If we need a fill-in or a body double stuntman for Jackie, the guy that played in Shutter Island and all that, he kind of Tomos kind of looks like, if you put a pair of glasses on him, he kind of looks like Jackie. I forget his name, Jackie. I don't know. He played in a lot of movies. It was the dude that was in the Bad News Bears, right? That Bad News Bears movie that was out when we were younger. He rode the Kelly was his name. He rode the dirt bike, wore the leather jacket, smoked cigarettes. If you put glasses on this dude Tomos, it looks just like him. Have a stunt double.
Someone always knows more than they have said. The ransom notes confirm it. At least one person on the outside of this, close enough to feel the heat, is already trying to monetize what they know. And the DNA confirms 2 contributors present at the scene. The genealogy databases are building family trees for both of them right now. And $1 million is waiting for the first person who decides that what they know is worth more than what they owe. That crack is already there. The question is which side of it opens first. As of today, March 1st, 2026, Nancy Guthrie has been missing for 28 days. No suspect has been publicly named. No arrest has been made. And no one has confirmed where she is or whether she is safe. And the investigation, one of the most heavily resourced missing persons cases in Arizona history, has just entered a critical transition. On February 27th, the Pima County Sheriff's Department released a formal update. The department confirmed it is refocusing resources, moving from the full-scale surge operation of the first weeks to a dedicated detective unit specifically assigned to this case for the long term. And their statement was direct. This remains an active investigation and will continue until Nancy Guthrie is located, or every available lead has been fully exhausted. Deputies will maintain a patrol presence in the Catalina Foothills neighborhood. Investigators are actively requesting that residents across the surrounding communities submit any surveillance footage.
You know what they're trying to do, don't you? They're making it where they won't get no leads. If the government is going to tell these people that are being tipped off, like let's say Dominic, right? Or Tomos or whatever. If they're telling these people that the police themselves are getting tips from people to look into, what's going to happen? No one's going to call in tips. If you're telling people, if it ain't them, and the American citizens are calling the authorities and saying, hey, it's this guy, right? It's different than making a video and giving our theories, assumptions, or whatever. You know, they're all proven innocent till guilty. You're not going to get no tips on anything. Well, why am I? Heck, I can lose everything I got from calling in a tip to the authorities. That's not good, especially when the government don't know what's going on. Supposedly they got no suspects at this time, but everyone's cleared. How many times have we heard that crap? Man, something fishy going on, man. So what's going to happen to JLR? They going to sue JLR? Everyone's saying JLR sued so many people that it wasn't funny. I don't know if that's true. But what if it came back to bite them in the butt? And now the police are telling these people that are suspects, because they know the family. This is 101. Investigating. Family, and then friends of the family, and then it goes out from there. So, I don't know. This is just
Even footage captured miles from the residence that may be relevant to the night of February 1st. The same day, on February 26th, the investigators released new footage from a home security camera located approximately 2.5 miles from Nancy's residence. The clip shows a vehicle moving at speed through that corridor at around 2:30 a.m. on February 1st, minutes after Nancy's pacemaker app disconnected from her phone at 2:28 a.m. That vehicle and the cell tower data from every telecommunications tower along that 2.5-mile corridor in the minutes surrounding 2:28 a.m. is now a focal point for investigators. A digital forensics expert, Heather Barnhart, a specialist with the Science Institute, and Celebrite, who worked directly on the Brian Kohberger investigation, told NBC News that whoever is responsible for Nancy's disappearance left a digital trail whether they intended to or not. Her precise observation: your phone is the silent witness to your life. It knows everything you do. Just the same infrastructure that makes investigations difficult makes it difficult for the people.
You know what else is a telltale of your life that every single one of you people probably own? Do I have to solve the case again? Alrighty then. Your vehicle. Your vehicle has a computer and onboard OnStar and Cyrus radio or whatever that is, which is all what? GPS coordinated. So your car sends out a signal also if you have these things, right? Also your phone, because a lot of people, what do? They use their car phone through what? Their car. So your car is also a dead giveaway. Dun, dun, dun. I know, I just said that, but there you go.
Investigators are looking for. The FBI separately deployed what law enforcement sources described to CBS News as a signal sniffer, a Bluetooth tracking device mounted on a helicopter flying low and slow over the search area, in an attempt to detect any signal emitted by Nancy's pacemaker. A pacemaker is an active electronic device. It transmits.
If you're a coffee lover who's sick of spending tons of money at a Starbucks or wherever you get coffee from on the go,
Is alive, that device is communicating, and law enforcement has been listening. Now here is where the forensic picture stands as of this week. The glove DNA extracted from the nitrile glove found 2 miles from the scene on February 13th, belonging to an unknown male, returned no match in CODIS. Genealogy database analysis has been initiated. That process is running. The DNA recovered from inside the home is described by sources close to the investigation as low level, and that is the technical designation for a sample where the quantity of genetic material present may not be sufficient to generate a clean, reliable profile for database comparison. The Pima County Sheriff confirmed the lab in Florida is continuing to work the sample. Sheriff Nanos confirmed the next phase will include attempting to separate merged DNA contributors from the home sample, a technically demanding process that requires time but is achievable with current laboratory methods. Here is what that means in plain terms. The science has not failed. It has encountered a challenge. Those are two different things, and the distinction matters because the investigators still have the glove profile, clean, sequenced, submitted to genealogy databases, running right now. That profile belongs to an unknown male who has never submitted a qualifying sample to CODIS. But somewhere in the extended network of his family, someone may have uploaded their genetic data to Ancestry, onto 23, and Me, to MyHeritage, to GEDmatch. And the genealogists building the family tree around any partial match do not need a direct hit. They need a branch, a cousin, a sibling, one connected node in the tree. And then the shoe leather work begins. Investigators eliminating branches, narrowing the family, moving toward the end of the line where a name waits. This is where every thread of this investigation converges. The vehicle on camera at 2:30 a.m. The cell towers logging every device that moved through that corridor in the dark. The digital forensics record, every phone that powered down at an unusual hour, every device that disconnected from a known location and appeared somewhere else before sunrise. The Walmart backpack, the 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker, being traced through store purchase records across Arizona. The belly band holster, described by Sheriff Nanos as having unique characteristics, are being tracked through gun stores across Tucson. Every data stream running simultaneously, fed into the same investigation, building the same case from the outside in. And then there are the two names this video has examined from the beginning. Tommaso Cioni, Dominic Evans. One man cleared by law enforcement. One man who gave a single interview to the New York Times on February 25th described feeling like someone had taken his name, confirmed he was interviewed once and not contacted again, and returned to silence. Two men connected by 19 years of documented friendship, a Craigslist ad, and a family whose matriarch has been missing for 4 weeks. This script has not accused either of them. It has not rendered a verdict. It has presented the publicly available record, the criminal history, the physical description, the geographic proximity, the documented relationship, the DNA science, or the forensic timeline, and shown you why those facts have placed those names at the center of public examination. That is different from guilt, and it will remain different until the science closes the distance. Ask yourself this: if you are the detective sitting in that Tucson command post right now, watching the genealogy database build its tree branch by branch, to cross-referencing cell tower pings against a 2.5-mile vehicle corridor at 2:30 in the morning, which thread do you pull first? The glove profile, running clean through a database that covers hundreds of millions of voluntary submissions? The phone data, sitting in the records of every carrier that serviced northern Tucson on February 1st? Or the vehicle, speeding through a residential neighborhood at 2:30 a.m., 2 minutes after an 84-year-old woman's pacemaker went dark? And the answer is all of them, simultaneously.
All right, I want to touch on something real quick. Is this guy's saying that her pacemaker went dark? Now, there's only a couple ways that would happen. So, are they thinking that she's close to that area? Maybe he dumped the body or did something to her, then put her in the car and took off, like meaning ended her life? I don't know if a pacemaker would continue to go on. Let's say if accidentally she bled out. Mentally, her brain would be dead, her body would be dead, but would the pacemaker continue to function and send a signal out is my question. Even if she is deceased. I'm not sure. I wish we knew all the answers, but we don't. If anyone's out there and wants to throw in their opinion in chat, go right ahead. But I'm confused because they say her pacemaker goes dark. Does that mean that it's disconnected? It's still working, but it's no longer being tracked by the phone because maybe the phone shut off or whatever? Uh, or is it somebody did something and when we find Miss Guthries, there won't be a maybe I don't know. I'm telling you this. I've been looking into the black market videos on YouTube, watching how these guys operate, and yeah, there. I guess there's a whole like underworld of you could buy these things, uh, body parts, replacement knee replace whatever I don't know. Maybe even pacemakers too, right? They sell them or something. I don't know. These things are probably worth money. Maybe in another maybe I don't know, man. It wouldn't shock me. I'll tell you that much. It's about the black market. It's on YouTube. It's not on the dark web. It's on YouTube. You could look it up of black market selling. They traffic people. They traffic body organs. They drug. You name it. It's just a whole dark world or whatever they call it. And if you look on YouTube, you could watch it on YouTube. That's about how deep my investigation goes. If I can't find it on YouTube, then it ain't real or it ain't, you know, it's real top secret because you don't hear anything about it on YouTube. No, Hagenbashen, you got issues because you're here with no content trolling, no content at all. Probably being tracked from what our tracker is saying, maybe out of Chicago. Might be one of these disgruntled rappers or something. Takashima Nakadoba.
Simultaneously, because each thread is a different path to the same name. And investigators have been pulling.
Could be. It could be Trump trolling me. Me trolling me. Hey, listen, Melissa and Higginbottom. Why are you over here busting my chops? I'm just doing video content. All these people are innocent until proven guilty in the court of the law and in this chat. But you trolling, I don't know some of the stuff you're saying. Are you a twerker or creaker, tweaker, twerker, whatever they call them? I don't know. Somebody, you from another crime channel, trying to control me? I'm not sure, but let's continue with this.
All of them since the morning this case began. Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old. She has a pacemaker. She has been specifically absent from the home she lived in for 5 decades for 28 days. She was targeted. She was planned for. Someone ran a rehearsal 9 days before they executed the plan. 2 people contributed biological material to her crime scene. A vehicle was captured on camera 2.5 miles away, 2 minutes after her pacemaker went offline. The science is running. The databases are open. The cell data has been collected. And $1 million is sitting on the table waiting for the first person in the ring who decides their silence is no longer worth holding. She deserves to be found. She is still out there. And this case is not over. If this investigation is something you have been following, if you found this channel through this case and you are still here, drop a comment right now.
Oh right, there you go. Just like that, it's over with. If we need Tommaso to play Jackie, you know what? I'm going to look up what Jackie's last name. I forget his last name or whatever. Jackie, are you the one trying to log into my account? Maybe I tried logging in. I'm not sure, but anyways, I'm gonna look up his last name. Tommaso. If we need you as a body double or a stunt man, we'll call you for Jackie. Put some glasses on him. Looks just like him. Now let me check it out. I'm gonna check it out real quick, Deb. I want to show you. Let's check out here and see if we can see. I belong to one of his movie Facebook, I think it is, channel or whatever, or Facebook thingamajiggers. Let's see if we can see anything here.
Here, you do the locked in here thing. Come on, just one little locked in, or I'm gonna turn the light off if you don't do it. Come on, do the voice. You do the voice. No, come on.
That's Jackie Earl Haley. He was also in the movie The Cutters. So he did Bad News Bears. Then he was in that movie The Cutters with Dennis Quaid. And then he went on to do Shutter Island. He's in all kinds of. He's a great actor. I belong to one of his Facebook movie things or whatever it is. But that kind of looks like Tomas. He might be able to play Tomas in the movie. We get Jackie Earl in there. Play him in the movie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enough with this. Debbie, didn't it look like Tomas? You put glasses on Tomas, it looks like him. If Jackie grew his hair out a little bit, his beard out, it looked like him. I don't know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes part 2 of the suspects, right? I wonder if Carlos got his phone back yet. And did the government have, were people right to look at yeah, these people had facial expression, eyebrows, eyes, lips, uh, that were a possible match. And when you're going after a masked man, all you could do is make assumptions and scenarios or whatever, your theory on it. It's hard to see uh, the full picture behind a ski mask. We're only seeing eyes and mouth and uh, you know beard and mustache. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you for showing up here tonight. My condolences or my sorrow to the Guthrie family, but something's going on here pretty crazy, if you ask me. Maybe a racket to scam people. I don't know. Maybe is JLR in trouble? He was the first one that said he thought it was. He thought it was Dominic Evans. And everybody started going after looking for Dominic Evans on Facebook and everywhere. And that's what sleuths do. Picture was put out there and everybody dissected it. And he did have, character face uh, spots that would make him, look suspect. Yeah. Yeah, well, you folks have a good night. God bless. We might be back with a peaceful fire to chill and relax from all the madness today. All the running around, all the stuff, all the witchery, sorcery they've been doing, curses, spells. Lord, handle it in Jesus' name. Protect us all. You folks have a good night. Amen.